Okay, today is November 27th and we're doing an update on our food forest here in Lakeland, Florida. This is the end of our 5th year growing, so we'll go through and show you how things are going along here at the end of year 5. The first place I'm going to start is right here at this Sweetheart Lychee. Now this has been here, what, 4 years? The Sweetheart, I believe, yeah, four years. And it's interesting, something, you see how yellow the leaves are right there. But then the latest flush is doing good, is hardening off good. Green, but yellow. And then it started to get yellow and back to dark green back there. And I believe what happened here was last year we got fruit off this tree this year for the first time, and I was heavily watering it, and primarily from the pond. And I haven't checked yet. I'm going to send it in I'm sending it in for an analysis, but I'm assuming that the pH is a little bit high and there's probably a fair amount of calcium in this pond, calcium carbonate. And heavily watering this tree, it took a little while for that calcium to have an effect, and had a pH effect, raising the pH in it. And so a couple of flushes 6 months or so later ended up having some issues, and it seems to have corrected itself now, but that's what I'm thinking happened, because I don't know how else to explain going from green back there, green, to the flush getting bad, to getting yellow, and now we're back to green. I've since tested the pH and put sulfur down out here because it was high. So I'm gonna just be a little bit more careful in the future on this as I go forward, to make sure that I don't overwater it with the pond water and end up with another situation like that. Don't like seeing yellow leaves like that, especially when they were nice and dark green, and then to end up like that. But it'll be okay. And then over here is the Mauritius Lychee, and I didn't water that one as much, so I didn't have any problems with that. It's trying to harden off its latest flush. Hopefully I've got the pruning down this year, and the timing of this tree hardening off and coinciding with the cold fronts and everything like that. If its next flush, hopefully it will be blooms this year, and we can get a lot of lychees off this Mauritius, because the tree has gotten quite big. Oh, sunlight. Over here we got we always get a couple pineapples this time of year. Most of them come in the summertime. But these are all probably going to get taken out of here soon, because the lychee's getting quite big and growing right over the top of them. And over here's a day avocado. And I just pruned probably, what, 6-8 feet off that tree, and it's sprouted out and growing everywhere up there. I really kind of want it to grow more out, but it wants to grow up. I think these buds are getting ready to grow. So this is the day avocado. Try and do this without getting all that sun. But the day avocado, what, this thing's been here, what, well, I think only 3 years or 3.5. I'd have to check. Then over here, we have Florida Grande peach tree. Obviously, it's starting to lose its leaves for winter. And then over here, We have the coconut cream, which is, man, this thing is just like an ugly grower. You can see how half of it's on the ground. This grows good. Big leaves. Grows good, but it just, as far as fast, but it just grows wild. It doesn't really grow up too much. It wants to grow down. You see everything weeping, hanging over. But unlike, you know, a lot of weeping trees would start putting out growth up here, these don't seem to do that. They just keep growing from the end. And this was after back in the spring, I had pruned a lot of the growth. It was all off the ground, and now it's all back on the ground. So that's the coconut cream. I've been here 4 years now. Backside's not as much. And over here is the winter Mexican avocado. I pruned that one also. Took about 6-8 feet out of it. It's sprouting up there. It's got some avocados hanging on it right now, but there's actually quite a few. We haven't really started harvesting off of it yet. It's obviously a late season avocado because we're about going into December and we haven't started getting the avocados off this yet. But yeah, I pruned that out. I was hoping it would flush out all over the place, but just like the other one, it's flushing out way up at the top. Not really what I wanted it to do, but oh well. And then over here's the Tropic Beauty Peach, and grew really well this year, and obviously it's going into dormancy. And I got some more pineapples, or a pineapple at least. Now there's a second one over there too. Coming up, a little bit of weeds mixed in there, got to pull out. Then probably my best growing mango. I like this tree the best as far as how it grows. And that's my Glen mango, but it's set up well it produced a lot of fruit this year. It's gotten big, growing well. Nice bushy growth habit on it. Of course, I try to tip prune it here and there, keep it bushy. These always turn out nice and dark green, and these always grows really well. I've never had any issues with this tree. And then my Kent. Grows blush up there. I'd consider top working this tree just because the variety is nothing special, but I haven't done it yet, so we'll see. I know it's going to be, they're getting close growing together now between the Glen and the Kent, so we'll have to see what we're going to do in the future. But they're quite big now. Both of these, this Glen and this Kent, have been here for 5 years growing now. And the Kit has grown really well this year too. It didn't really produce a lot of fruit this year. Kind of took a year off, it seemed. But I'm assuming that it looks like it'll probably produce pretty good this coming year, barring no freeze issues. doing well. And then there used to be a Mexicola avocado right here. You can see the bacon right there. But the Mexicola avocado just never ripened the fruit good at all. So I pondered top working it, but instead the space was getting tight in here between the bacon and this kit, so I decided to go ahead and chop it down. And I have since planted a little sugar apple seed. Now this seed is, I've got a few of them on the property, but this is from a seed from a Isan indigo, so a purple fleshed sugar apple. I don't know if it'll make it through winter, but I've got other seeds just in case. But I wanted to try to get them in, and I'll cover them with a little bucket during the winter, and we'll see if it can make it through. I know these things don't like winter, and being this small, it's probably not likely that it's going to make it, but I figured I'd give it a try. And the bacon avocado, I've also pruned probably at least, what, 4 to 6 feet out of that tree too. It's sprouted up there a little bit, but we're gonna have to see. Yeah, I pruned all 3 of these avocados back in, oh, what was it? Seems like it was like September or October, early October. I don't know, it might mess up the flowering and fruiting this year. We'll have to see how that goes. Then over here, Namwa, Dwarf Namwa bananas. You see a little rack right there. Another little rack. Another one. Another one. Over here is the Hachiya Persimmon. This thing's finally starting to grow. It took a few years, because this is now what, year 4 for this. It was not growing well like the other ones, but it is growing now, and it's even set some fruit. Nothing massive, but that's fine. I wanted it to kind of grow anyhow. There's another one. So that's the Hachiya Persimmon. Over here, we have 3 different passion fruits vines on here. Frederick, then Red Rover in the middle, and Purple Possum down on the other end. But we had a lot of passion fruit off these this year. Growing on this fence that I put in. Then we got a bunch of stumps and wood and stuff sitting over here, and it's growing up all over there, covering all that. Then over here, I have planted some jackfruit seeds. These are a red flesh variety. They've come up and have started growing. Looks like this one's probably going to be the winner out of them, but they'll be nice and small this winter. I should be able to keep them alive. I can easily cover them, and we'll see. But yeah, so another jackfruit variety, and then of course the passion fruit. I did see some flowers on here, within the last 6 weeks or so, and there was some fruit forming up like right there, but they seem to be dropping and not going all the way. I haven't seen any actual fully ripened fruit on here in a while. So, and then over here, I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not. I mean, it was slow this year. Macadamia Nut Seedling. That's been here now a year, basically. Well, I guess it's not been here maybe a year. trying to remember exactly when I put it over here and stuff. It's not done all that great, but it's starting to do a little bit better. Maybe it'll grow. It's from my macadamia nut tree. Passion fruit again. And then over here is some more sugar apple seeds things. But these ones are seedlings from a Nadai variety that I got. So again, we'll see what they do over winter, if they can make it or not. Here's the Avery Loquat that I grafted here. What was it? Now 3 years ago or something like that, I think. It's grown really well. You see it's starting to flower. Send out flowers. And then the Yehuda Loquat is also flowering right now. This year I'm gonna thin the fruit on these to get a little bit bigger fruit, and they just set so many. Don't need that many. I'd end up not eating the vast majority of it. Now here I've got my Indian Jujube going again. This is the Thai giant Indian Jujube. I bought some scions. Had bark grafted them. You can see over here. This is what happened though. One of the scions didn't take on over there. This one did, and then it grew and it completely broke off in a windstorm. Except for it was still attached right there, and it sprouted out and has grown, and it seems to be holding on and doing fine now. Then the rootstock from this trunk here grew out, and I tip pruned that. You can see the grafting paper on there, and so I took cuttings off of this and grafted them over here. Just, I don't know, I grafted these probably 4 to 6 weeks ago. It's growing fast, but there was a bark graft right there, but it broke off in the wind, and so I lost it and just had the one, but luckily I've been able to keep this thing going. And you can see the cranberry hibiscus. Just kind of reseeds itself every year. And tropic snow peach tree going dormant. Grew well this year. And then over here, you see the big old field of purple sweet potatoes that I planted in here. And right in the middle on this mound up here, now these are all growing right in mulch. Just probably a 2-foot thick layer of mulch is what I put in here to raise this area up. But this is another Mauritius Lychee that I planted up here. This is standing up on a mound. So this is a Mauritius Lychee that we've planted out here amongst the, surrounded by purple sweet potatoes. So that's first year in the ground here for that. And I don't have nothing over here on this mound right now. I had taken out the figs that didn't do any good, and I believe we're gonna put pineapples up on this mound is what we're gonna do. Then of course more dwarf Namwas. Rack. And another rock. Another rack. And then the purple glory tree. Not a fruit tree, but I like this flower on this. Pretty leaves too. So that's been growing here this year. I planted that back in the spring. This is a garden area. Got a couple eggplant in there and few greens, and I just planted a cover crop on there for this. We're gonna try to get ready and grow stuff in the spring. Oh, and this is a Ruby Glow passion fruit vine. I didn't really plant this for the fruit, but has a really pretty flower on it. So we're gonna grow this on let it grow on the trellis or the fence here. Namwas, Moringa. I gotta cut that back. I always cut that back every year. I'll do it in the spring. And I can't remember. A friend of mine gave me this, and I can't remember what this is called. But it survived here, even though it was covered in weeds most of the summer. It starts with a C. And this is Pakistani Mulberry, losing its leaves, going into dormancy. Big old thick trunk on it. This tree always starts looking bad in the end of the year with it gets too wet over here, and it gets sad when the ground gets too wet. But you can see how long those canes, I mean, some of those grew 12, 15 feet, maybe more. I mean, the tree's probably 20, some of those are up there 20 some feet. I'll prune it back in the spring. And the ever-bearing mulberry, starting to lose its leaves too. It's still got some fruit on here. They usually a little bit tangy right now. They're nice and sweet in the spring. We got a lot of them. Oh, that was a little bit better. Maybe they just gotta sit here. Yeah, not a lot of flavor to them right now. And over here, the red Djibouti Kaba. And it's got quite a bit of fruit on it actually right now. I left them on. Just, oh, that one, an ant got it. They were good. No, there's one growing at the trunk right there. But yeah, we've been getting fruit off this year. It's taken a while to get this thing going good. Leaves are starting to look, they're looking a little ugly. Though it was bad, then it got better, then it got ugly. Now it's getting a little bit better, but the pH got a little bit too low on this. I was down like 4.5. High 4s. So I just try to bring that up a little bit. But it's getting better every year. There's a whole mess with all of them. Gotta make sure I pick these today. I'd have been eating them all this week, but I knew I was going to be doing this video, so I wanted to kind of leave a bunch on. But yeah, we've been getting fruit off this. This is the first year, all year, but this is by far the heaviest it's been. Then over here is the Sabara, the typical Djibouti Kaba. And this one, the leaves are looking really good. First few years, this tree looked pretty sad, but I finally got the pH better, although it was a little bit low, just like the other one. I'm trying to get it closer to that 5.5, 6 range, but it was down there around 5. But I understand that these like a bit of a low pH, so much doing better. These are white sweet potatoes over here. Well, there used to be a Champagne Loquat here. I took it out. I got rid of it. It wasn't doing all that great. I have planted another Isan Indigo seedling, or seed from an Isan Indigo, purple sugar apple here. Again, we'll see if it makes it through the winter or not. I'm doubtful, but I wanted to try, get a head start. It was a little bit late in the year. And then before I go to jackfruit, the Bradenton Loquat, I had pruned that back heavily in the spring and it's bounced back really well. And of course, flowering this time of year that they're flowering. This thing produces a lot of small fruit, so I'm gonna try to thin that out quite a bit. And the jackfruit tree was not doing good this year. I have pruned, took out what, 6-8 feet out of the top of it. I think it would flush out. It flushed out a bit, but not a lot. But it is growing some fruit in there. I'll show you in a second. It has flushed out some fruit. It's interesting. I find, maybe, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but on this side of the tree, it's a bit more yellow than this side of the tree. And that is because this area, from right around in here, this way, the previous owner had all kinds of seashells in this area. The pH is really high. Now over here, it's not like that. So the roots going that way are getting into good stuff. The roots going this way, even though there's mulch, the pH is like well over 8 in this area. So it seems like this side of the tree is more affected by it. You can see and then if I come over here and get to the middle, and then it starts looking better over here on this side of the tree. But there has been some fruit that has started to come out on this, although I don't think this is coming. There's 2 of them right here. That's a male flower right there. These are females. I don't think they'll be able to get through winter time, but those are male flowers up there too. But then these are 2 females right here. A little one that just opened up and came out. And then another one. So I got 4 on here right now. And so I probably should have waited till, because this tree, I topped it because I knew the tree wasn't doing all that good. It didn't grow a single inch in height this year. So I'm like, okay, it's obviously struggling. Ever since a couple years ago when I laid down way too much mulch and the leaves were, the tree was really suffering. So I tried spreading the mulch out, but I don't know if I got it moved enough, and the tree was a bit hurt by putting down too much mulch, and it really has never fully recovered. I mean, it's still growing. It's still potentially recoverable and everything. So I tried pruning it to see if I could get some life back into it, and it didn't grow a lot from that. It flowered, and I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe I should have waited till springtime, and then it probably would have flowered, and I probably would have definitely been able to get the fruit. But it's doubtful that they'll make it through winter time and stay on the tree. Then over here is starfruit, cherry starfruit. It's gotten quite big. And there is a lot of starfruit on here right now. As a matter of fact, I've got to do some harvesting. I'll go around the back side of the tree, because this thing will flower and fruit. Well, I got all kinds of katuk back here too. It gets real thick back here in the forest. We've been making some dishes off from this katuk. We like the katuk. Here's all the star fruit. There's actually just a lot of it in there. And even some that's coming along the way, and there's always flowers and fruit. Usually till probably February or March on this tree. And of course there's more katuk. This is all katuk growing through here, right behind it. Yeah. Cherry. Star fruit. Can't lift up the camera because I'm walking right into the sun. The Barbados Cherry. It has a ton of fruit on it right now. And I'm like, oh man, I need to get more of these. They're nice and dark red right now. This is when they're like my favorite. It's when they get dark like that. But, that's good. Definitely the most fruit we've gotten off this year. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. I don't know if the lighting is messing it up, but there's just, yeah, red ornaments everywhere. For you, hey sweetie. For you, persimmon. It's not doing all it. Like we're struggling with this tree. I'm gonna prune it back heavily in the spring and see if I can get it reset. Moringa. I just use that one for chop and chop. And green sapote. It's got a few flowers on it right now. Some places. See that right there? That's a flower. Those are a couple flowers. It struggled this year. It's struggled for a few years now. Recently planted some cover crop down there and various things trying to snap this tree back. The Alano Sapadilla. Get over here. They're growing really, really well. It's got a fair amount of fruit on it. Not ready yet. But there's quite a bit actually in here. I didn't even notice all this stuff laying down. Quite a bit of low hanging fruit. I might have to tip prune that here soon. It's gotten up there quite a bit. All these trees in this area have been here 4 years. Right through here. I'll just show you. And the white sweet potato ground cover. And the macadamia nut. 4 years. Has gotten quite big. We had a ton of nuts on this thing this spring. But man, the squirrels slaughtered the tree. Slaughtered it. Way before, I mean, 4-6 months before the nuts would be even ready. They stripped it. I've since got a pellet gun. I'm gonna start controlling the squirrel population around here. Otherwise, we'll never get squirrels. I mean, we'll never get squirrels. We'll never get any nuts off in this tree. But it's doing so good. It's flushing out right now. Only been there 4 years. It's gotten quite big. Just 4 years, so let me see if I can. Then the Maycock Sapadilla. Didn't hardly grow at all this year. Probably because it's so incredibly loaded with fruit. Way too much. I mean, I think there's more brown on here than there is green. I don't know if you're supposed to thin these on a Maycock or not, but I mean, we'll see how big they get. I'm a little worried that they might not get all that big. Although I found one laying on the ground the other day and it was good. It was actually ripe. So, but I don't know how much fruit. There was a ton of fruit even on that side, and the tree was bent, the top was bent way over, so I took all the fruit off of it so it would stand straight back up. But yeah, it's just gobs of fruit everywhere. I mean, clusters and clusters and clusters of fruit on this Mauritius Lychee. If you want one that's not going to grow that much because it's loaded in fruit all the time, this will be it probably. So yeah, that's the Mauritius Lychee. That's just some wild, I don't know what grass that is, but it's been growing all along there. It kind of has a hedge back behind these trees right here. I don't know what it is. I had a Mame sapote growing right there, and I grafted my green sapote onto it, but it didn't make it. It all died, so I pulled it out. I haven't planted nothing right there yet. And then right here, this is new because this is a seedling from a Dream Adamoya. I planted this seed back, what, February or so. It probably came out, what, February, spring, March, something like that. So it's grown really good. That's all 1 year's growth right here from that Dream Adamoya seed. It seems to have a lot of Cherimoya characteristics in it because the leaves are quite fat, rounded, very velvety. But I've had to tip prune it quite a few times to get it to put some branches on. It doesn't want to branch. It probably would be, I mean, this is 5 foot tall, first year, not even a year old. So it seems to be growing pretty good. We'll make sure I protect it, cover it up if we get any cold snaps. And then the Hachiya Persimmon, getting worse every year. The trees, I'm gonna heavily prune this back, and I did some pH testing. The pH was really high in this area, so I've just recently laid down some sulfur. Hopefully by spring that starts bringing the pH down, and heavily prune this back and see if I can get it to reset and do something. And then Redlands white sapote, just starting to push. So this will be growing here, putting on a flush. This time of the year, this is when it doesn't really like the summer, but the tree's gotten better established over here than it was in the other area. I think it was a bit stunted there for a while. I checked that the pH had gotten really super low in this area because I'd previously laid down too much sulfur, and I had the pH down around 4.5. So I'm working on liming that and getting the pH back up, and it seems to be responding. And this is a Hachiya Persimmon that I planted this spring, and I don't know what's going on. It had some problems with this. It's obviously going dormant right now, but it didn't grow much this year, so we'll have to see what happens. And then my recent planting within the last 6 weeks or so is this Sugarloaf mango. Just got this, and I see buds swelling on it, so it's getting ready to do something. But I kept hearing a lot about Sugarloaf mango, and I went ahead and found one, got one. So got it planted in a good spot, and of course bananas. These I gotta try to get out of the direct sunlight. This stump I just keep cutting down. I'm trying to leave, because this is to the west, so I want the sunlight to be able to get in here on the Sugarloaf. And you see the sun going down, so I'm just keeping that low. And bananas, in here. These ones are up here. These are Goldfinger right here. I don't see really anything there. And then of course the tall Namwas are here. That's getting really close. There, brand new there. We just harvested that. Right, but these, yeah, these tall Namwas are quite big. And I let that one, I had originally cut that all down too, so there's no bunches over here because it's all grown just this year. Because I had it cut all the way down. I had planted a dwarf Namwa here, but it keeps getting covered by the tall Namwas right here. So, yeah, that is the full tour update here on our property and end of our growing season for year 5. Obviously some things are just brand new and other things are 4 to 5 years old, so happy for the most part, but there's always, you know, always things that we're learning, and things are doing well, some things are not doing as well. So but that'll be it for this video, and look forward to doing more in the future. I'm going to try and get more out. I usually don't do a lot of videos, but I'll try to do more in this coming year. So God bless.